Don't forget to like, subscribe, and punch that bell for notifications.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our featured bout, and it is being brought to you by DiBella Entertainment in association with Square Ring Promotions and Showtime. Tonight's event is sponsored by the Dakota Magic Casino and Resort. This bout is scheduled for 10 rounds, and it will be for the vacant WBC USNBC Super Middleweight Championship. Sanctioned by the North Dakota Athletic Commission, Secretary of State is Alvin Jaeger, Lead Commissioner is Rob Carlson. Along with the World Boxing Council, President is Jose Suleiman. Supervising tonight is Carlos de la Cruz. Our 3 judges assigned, scoring on a 10-point must system will be Mike Fitzgerald, John Mariano, and Denny Nelson. When the bell rings, our referee in charge, the 3rd man in the ring, will be Mark Nelson. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Shields Arena in Fargo, North Dakota, this is our ShowBox main event of the evening. Introducing to you first to my right, fighting tonight out of the blue corner, he's wearing black trunks with teal trim and weighed in at 167.8 pounds. A native of Brentwood, New York, he is now making his home in Vero Beach, Florida, and has a professional record of 22 wins, 2 defeats, 1 draw, 1 no contest, with 11 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome James McGirt Jr. And his opponent across the ring, fighting tonight in this main event out of the red corner. He's wearing white trunks with red trim and weighed in at 166.2 pounds. Fighting out of Worcester, Massachusetts, by way of Mocha in the Dominican Republic, he brings with him a perfect record of 16 wins, no defeats, with 12 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Edwin La Bomba Rodriguez.
Chief Seconds, James, Edwin, you've already received your instructions in the dressing room. You know exactly what I expect. I want a good, hard championship fight and obey my commands at all times. Obey the bell. Touch gloves. Good luck to both of you.
Rodriguez was 172 for his last fight. He trained hard in Australia for this one. The fact that he's as light as 166 speaks volumes for what kind of shape he is in tonight. Now, the rules are different than the first 2 fights. We go to the ABC rules, no standing 8, no 3 knockdown rule, and only the ref can stop the fight. Can't be saved by the bell in any round. Accidental foul rule remains the same before 4, no contest after 4. We go to the cards. Kurt.
Well, 25-year-old Edwin Rodriguez, we called him one of the most promising 168-pound prospects in America. Tonight, it's his chance to show it. Facing what he says is his toughest opponent yet in Buddy McGirt's son, James McGirt Jr. And Rodriguez, always coming out aggressive.
And letting that right hand go, usually the best weapon against a southpaw. In terms of amateur experience, Edwin Rodriguez, a former national champion, and McGirt at a different level as an amateur. And pro experience, you see that McGirt part of the class of 04, Rodriguez part of the class of 08, and McGirt with a lot more experience. He's the veteran in this one.
We talked about how aggressive Rodriguez likes to start. He's definitely doing that tonight. But McGirt's giving as much as he's taking.
Very important for McGirt to keep his cool and not turn this into a brawl.
You said something different in him yesterday during our fighter meetings.
Yeah, he just looked like he wanted to go for a KO, and it's just not his game, especially against a strong fighter like Rodriguez, who can be hit, but you have to do it as a boxer, not as a puncher.
Now, it hasn't cost him by any means yet, but we've seen Rodriguez a little bit off balance a couple of times here in this opening round. McGirt just staying in close. Not allowing Rodriguez to get any distance.
Rodriguez has gotten quite a few of his knockouts via body shots lately, and he's aiming that way tonight so far.
Well, he's certainly not shy about throwing punches. Throws them in volume.
Watch your heads. Break! Don't punch. Watch your heads, guys. Watch your heads.
McGirt stepped into that one. But not backing down at all. He's got Rodriguez in the corner. Before Rodriguez turns him around. Now McGirt up against the ropes. Rodriguez throwing a lot of punches, but McGirt's blocking a number of them as well. He didn't catch that uppercut, though, with a block. It got through. Well, you said that brawling is not McGirt's fight, but that's exactly what he's doing in this first round.
And they've been mixing it up a lot on the inside here.
Good body punch by Rodriguez.
And it's not that McGirt can't fight on the inside, he can, but it's not the right fight against a guy like Rodriguez who loves going to the body.
Catches it right on the chin with a left hand. 10 seconds left. Rodriguez thought it was the end of the round.
Rodriguez turned southpaw.
Nice round, Edwin.
Don't get into the slugging match with him.
Nice round.
Okay? So there's no one
Deep breath.
Give me the water.
I need you to be short up on them little shots, all right? Stay short. You gotta get your hands up. The left hook is scoring every time. Keep it short. 45 it if you have to. Double it. Up and down, down,
Here's
up.
James McGirt's strategy for tonight.
Give him a lot of head movement. You know, and I sit there and slug with him. I mean, that's what he wants. I mean, that's what he's used to. But, you know, I mean, I'm a man just like he is, so I know I can take a punch, but I want to see if he can take mine.
He's a slick boxer. Good speed, good movement. I think I got to cut the ring down and you know, break him down by hitting him to the body, and then bringing it back up top and getting him out of there.
Well, you could hear Buddy McGirt telling his son James basically what you were saying in that opening round. Don't get too close.
Buddy and I conferred before the fight. Just want you to know that.
You sent him a note?
Yeah.
Good right hand, though, by McGirt. Catches Rodriguez.
Well, you see how Rodriguez commits to his punches.
He really does. He catches McGirt this time with the left hand, does Rodriguez.
Good move by McGirt there to at least get off the rope.
Yeah. And now he's backed into the corner. Rodriguez standing tall and firm with the body punches now against McGirt. Trying to get him to bring those hands down, working the uppercut to the chin.
Keep the punches up.
Rodriguez has been as aggressive to the body as anywhere. McGirt is leaning on the ropes right now.
Yeah, he's waiting. Not a good idea. Why give Edwin Rodriguez free shots?
McGirt just working his way around the ropes, really. Not getting back in, and that shot close to being low, but not called against Rodriguez.
Well, you can't see McGirt's belly button because of his trunks. So any shot that's on that McGirt Jr. sign, it's going to be tough for Mark Nelson to call.
McGirt trying to time up a combination, see if he can get anything to work. You can see a couple of times Rodriguez switching back and forth.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand that.
Fighting orthodox 1 second and then southpaw the next. Like right now. He's got McGirt in the corner. Less than a minute to go.
While Rodriguez is missing some of those shots, Kurt, he's giving the judges no choice but to give him the round by being this aggressive.
And he has been all round. McGirt really not doing anything to back him up. He can't do anything. Now he catches him with the left hand, but Rodriguez just kind of smiles at him.
McGirt's best chance, that right hook. He's a natural righty, not a natural left. He doesn't have a big left hand, but his right hook can be devastating. I've seen him on showbox use that punch to score knockdowns. He's going to have to time Rodriguez, who sometimes punches long, and try to score with that right hook.
2 rounds down on our scorecards. 2 rounds for Edwin Rodriguez.
How we feeling, baby? Okay, listen, you got to keep the right hand out. Okay, now listen. Don't look for the knockout so quick, okay? Just let your hands go. Now, that's what we got to do. You got to keep your elbows
unnecessarily, okay?
Keep
Keep them hands up in front of you. Now, the combinations, you're trying to load up. Quick, fast, short combinations, all right? And once in a while, stick that left hook in the
Keep
body.
shooting more left hands at him.
Down with it.
And listen, you're throwing more like a jab. So I want you to do this round now. When you're inside and he starts digging to your body, dig a right hook to his body. Okay? Some more water? Okay, give me some more water, more water. But you gotta understand something. He's trying to drop that left hook on you. So let's step to your left this round now. Okay, go to your left this round. Okay? Let's go, baby.
Through the first 2 rounds, James McGirt Jr.'s southpaw style doesn't seem to be causing any problems for Edwin Rodriguez, who had never fought a lefty until his previous fight to this one, when he fought Ibrahim King. Maybe he took a lot out of that experience because he seems very comfortable tonight against McGirt.
Yeah, and Ibrahim King was a late sub, so Rodriguez for that fight didn't have any time to prepare for a southpaw. At least here, he did with Daniel Gil, the Australian. He sparred quite a bit with him and some southpaws down in Australia.
McGirt trying to fight his way off the ropes. Rodriguez won't let it. Continuing to work the body and then going with the uppercut. Rodriguez has been effective with that all night long. At this point, McGirt's just kind of wrapping up, trying to wait for an opportunity.
Yeah, and you know what I'm noticing? He's not doing a bad job defensively. He's not getting hit with anything too flush, but he's not working enough to win the rounds.
Maybe at this point it's a matter of survival. They're scheduled for 10 rounds, hoping to get into the later rounds and let Rodriguez wear himself out. Quite possibly.
Well, yesterday at our Friday meetings, James said big jab would be the key punch for him. It hasn't been a factor.
No, because he wanted to try and keep the distance away from Rodriguez, but he's done just the opposite here in this fight all night long. He's been in close. Too close, according to his corner. Takes a couple of shots to the body here. Tried to time that one out, but really hit Rodriguez in the back. Now, McGirt being more aggressive, catches a right hand in the process.
Some big shots by McGirt. Best flurry of the fight for him.
Rodriguez just a little off balance there again. And I mentioned it earlier, we've seen that from him a couple of times. He throws punches so big that every now and then he loses his balance.
That's a great point. This round, Rodriguez's hands have not been fast. Very ponderous with his punches.
That straight right hand got in both times. McGirt catches him with the left.
A very good second half of this round for James McGirt.
This really has. This has been his most effective so far. As Rodriguez fights his way out of the corner with 20 seconds to go in the 3rd round, the best round of the night for James McGirt. But is it enough? Right now, he's not finishing it strongly.
Obey the bell here, guys.
Time. 3 in the books. Well, next month, Strikeforce brings you another exciting night of MMA, December 4th. In the main event, a rematch 10 years in the making. MMA legend Dan Henderson faces former light heavyweight champion Ronaldo Babalu Sobral. Athletic phenomenon Herschel Walker resumes his fighting career as well. It all starts Saturday, December 4th at 10 p.m. here on Showtime.
Backing him up. Now listen, keep that elbow in. All right, those body shots, okay? He's trying to hit you in the liver. We don't want that, okay? What you got to do is keep backing him up with the jab now, okay? But you got to attack him from this side because he's reaching with the right hand and he's lunging with the hook, okay? Let's go.
Action from round 3. Both guys had moments in this third round. Watch Rodriguez with that left hook to the body. McGirt's elbows were up to try to protect his face. That's when you throw to the body. Makes sense.
The third round, the most effective for McGirt. Wasn't enough to win that round, Steve?
Yeah, I thought it was his round. I thought he did enough, and Rodriguez wasn't quite busy enough. By the way, Kurt, I'm only going to answer you anymore if you call me Babaloo Fargo. Is that all right?
A little Ricky Ricardo in it, maybe.
Yeah.
Both these guys, you talked about their amateur experience, came very close to making Olympic teams. McGirt back in 04, but he got married at the age of 19. His wife had a kid, and so he needed to get a job. Decided not to try out for the Olympics, and he was ranked number 6 in the country at that point. And back in 08, Edwin Rodriguez, you mentioned the 2 national championships he had won leading into the Olympic trials that year, but his then girlfriend, now wife, gave birth to twins who were born at 23 weeks. Each had some health problems, severe health problems, weren't supposed to live. And so at the age of 21, he decided to bow to the Olympic trials and try and help his family. Both kids survived. Both are now just over 4 years old, and he says doing well considering. And now he is turned professional, but didn't get a chance to go to the Olympics because of that.
And he was part of that great middleweight class with Danny Jacobs and Fernando Guerrero and fighters Sean Estrada, so many. We've seen him on Showbox, Sean Porter.
Rodriguez just stepping toe-to-toe and measuring McGirt. Jab, 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 right to the face.
Kurt, the way McGirt is approaching these rounds, he has to have big moments because he's getting outworked and he's allowing Rodriguez to make the play. He's going to have to be very sharp with his punches and land a lot of them or hurt Rodriguez, and so far we haven't seen that.
Really, other than the second half of that third round, he hasn't even been able to back Rodriguez up. He's landed some punches, but it seems as though Rodriguez has stood there and taken a lot of them. Misses wildly once again, though. Good combination.
Interesting that Rodriguez wearing Everlast gloves and McGirt wearing Grant gloves. Their choices. The Everlast glove, more of a boxer's glove. It's interesting that Rodriguez would wear it because he's more of a puncher.
Hey, over here,
Edwin
over
Rodriguez,
here. You got
big
number
stop
2
for a
ready?
second because McGirt lost his mouthpiece.
Oh, I want to clean. Take it in.
Come on, let's go, James. Stop taking those body shots.
Time in. Here we go.
Accidentally knocked out. Rodriguez comes right back and works the body again.
Keep the mouthpiece in, guys.
Kurt, I talked at the top about McGirt needing to keep his cool, not let the emotion of the moment get to him. I think he's done that, at least judging by his demeanor, but he's still not always fighting the right fight.
Well, he's fighting a totally different fight than at least he shared with us that he wanted to fight, and as you've heard his corner say, it's a different fight than they wanted him to fight.
Yeah, I don't see much lateral movement.
Obey the bell.
A good flurry of action here to stop round 4 by Rodriguez.
You're taking too many shots, son. Yeah, man, you're letting him get off too much. All you got to do is use your jab. You're letting the guy out hustle you. Hey, can you do me a favor this round, please? Can you give me one hook? You're throwing the hook more like a jab. Yeah. It's like you're trying too hard for the knockout. Okay, just work like you're doing in the gym. Come on, let's go, James. Step to the guy with the double
Buddy
jab.
McGirt in the corner with his son. Boy, Buddy was one of the best pure boxers of his generation. You should watch a tape of his fight against Simon Brown when he won the welterweight title. What a brilliant exhibition of boxing. And Buddy couldn't beat Pernell Whitaker twice, but he gave Whitaker good fights. If he had won those fights, he would have been top 3 pound for pound in the world. His son, again, genetics, I don't know how to explain it, but his son is a much taller fighter than Buddy, and as a result, fights a little bit differently than the old man did.
Buddy McGirt, part of history. The last scheduled 15-round fight in the United States. Who'll be fighting that one?
Howard Davis Jr. Everything's incestuous with this show.
It all comes back.
Ooh, nice right hand by McGirt.
Well, you heard Buddy telling James Jr. that he's taking too many punches, losing this fight. And so James Jr. comes out a little bit more aggressive here to start round 5.
And I've never seen Edwin Rodriguez fight southpaw this much.
Yeah, he continues to switch back and fighting southpaw right now. Catches McGirt with the right hand. You know, we keep calling him James McGirt Jr. because that's the name he goes by, James McGirt Jr., but he's really not a junior. His son is James McGirt Jr. because they're both James Anthony. Buddy McGirt is James Walter McGirt.
And Kurt, given the success Edwin Rodriguez is having as a right-hander, I don't get it. I mean, I'd like to ask him right now, and I don't think I can walk in the ring and do that at this moment, but I'd like to find out why he's turning southpaw so much.
Here he goes again, or it looked like he was going to. Good shot by McGirt, catching Edwin as he stepped in. Good shots have been too few and far between as Rodriguez connects with a left and a right. And now getting in between the defenses of McGirt.
And you can see from this camera how often they're stepping on each other's feet. It's happening quite a bit.
That happens a lot with a righty and a lefty. Oh, big punches by McGirt. His 2 best shots of the night.
Rodriguez answered right back, but McGirt starting to show some of those defensive deficiencies in Edwin Rodriguez.
Shot to the ribs. He's catching a lot of punches in the process, but he's not connecting. And McGirt's defense, which has been so good in the early rounds, doesn't seem to be there right now. Rodriguez has got him flush a number of times here in this 5th round.
Kurt, I don't like the way Edwin Rodriguez looks right now. His punches are slow, they're very long. He can't seem to decide whether he wants to be righty or lefty.
McGirt unable to take advantage, though, of the confusion.
Yeah, when he's punching, he's landing. He's just not punching enough.
Five rounds down, 5 more to go in this scheduled 10-rounder.
Deep breathing. Deep breath, Edwin. Catch that breath. Come on, open up them lungs. Deep breath. Do not fucking pull back in front of him with your hand down. Come on, get in fucking top of him, get it in your head. Do not pull back in front of him. Hands up, go up to the side. You don't take any shots, okay? Keep working.
Action from round 5. You'll see sudden trade of punches. And boy, Peter Manfredo said it. Don't pull back with your hands down. He did. McGirt landed the best punch of the night, that left hand. And again, McGirt with some success. Kurt called that shot. And again, Rodriguez came back. So it was give and take in that round. A pretty tough round to score, I would think. I gave it to McGirt.
I thought it was a tough round to score, but I gave it to Rodriguez, which shows you how tough it is. Your judging thing ain't easy.
Whenever you can.
We're ready for round 6.
Whenever you can, get the water here. Thanks.
We talked about the experience as far as having 4 more years as a pro for James McGirt Jr. in this matchup. There's also been a matter of when you take a look at the two. I mean, McGirt is a guy who's fought a number of rounds, and his fights tend to extend a lot more than Rodriguez. And so as this fight gets later and later and later with McGirt maybe showing a little bit more, maybe able to take advantage of Rodriguez not being deep in fights a lot.
Exactly right, and that's why this is exactly the type of fight Edwin Rodriguez needs. McGirt told us something interesting yesterday, Kurt. He said this is his last fight at 168. Yeah. Remember, he was a middleweight once. He says he's going to 75. He can't make it. He comes down from 190, sometimes 200 pounds. He's going to be a light heavyweight after this fight.
27 years old. It gets harder and harder the older you get.
And again, Rodriguez decides to go lefty.
You know, it's interesting, we haven't heard, at least, his corner say anything to him about that, about continually switching up. McGirt lands a couple to back Rodriguez up, but not far enough as he's back in that corner. Talk about the experience of McGirt. You count tonight as his 26th fight. 23 of his opponents have had winning records, not really stacked up like a lot of guys at the beginning of their career. Trying to see if that experience can make a difference against a guy who, at least on paper, is a better fighter than he is.
Well, win, lose, or draw, this is exactly the kind of experience Edwin Rodriguez needs at this point in his career. This was a step up. He's having to work. Trying to see what McGirt's trying to do to counter Rodriguez switching to southpaw.
Both guys just kind of eyeing one another right now. Crowd wanting just a little bit more action from these two.
The lack of action has never been a problem before in Edwin Rodriguez fights.
And it wasn't a problem in this fight. The way these two fighters came out brawling in that opening round, I thought, okay, here we go. But it has slowed down considerably since then.
When Rodriguez is lefty, McGirt fights him the same way as when Rodriguez is ready. Just hold his gloves up and wait.
You're right, doesn't switch at all. Maybe missing a couple of opportunities to take advantage of maybe a confused Rodriguez. Well, don't forget that tomorrow night Showtime Championship Boxing brings you a duel between one of the bright young stars in all of boxing, Juan Manuel Lopez of Puerto Rico. He'll take on Rafael Marquez, the Mexican icon, and then a Super 6 matchup as Alan Green faces tournament newcomer, former light heavyweight champion of the world, Glenn Johnson. Tomorrow night, 10 o'clock, right here on Showtime.
And Kurt, Glenn Johnson, 41 years old, taking 7 pounds off to fight at super middleweight, and he made the weight easy.
Wow.
Yeah, and the main event is a tremendous fight, Lopez and Marquez. The latest in the great chapter of Puerto Rico versus Mexico fights, and a great opportunity for Juan Manuel Lopez to join some of the great Puerto Rican fighters, the Trinidadians, the Wilfredo Gomez's and Benitez. We'll see what happens, but that should be some action fight, that main event.
It always is. Those two fighters normally in their fights. I love Juan Manuel Lopez. I think one of the bright young stars of boxing right now. Here we go, the 7th round, Schedule 10. One of the bright young stars at 168, Edwin Rodriguez, putting his undefeated record on the line tonight. 16-0 he comes into this one with 12 knockouts, including 7 of his last 8 fights. He's finding James McGirt Jr. a little bit difficult to knock out, although he has controlled most of the fight.
By keeping his gloves high and not leading much, McGirt has done a decent job of limiting Rodriguez's offense. The problem is, how do you win a fight doing that?
Right. It's one of those things where Rodriguez, one would assume, is so far ahead on the scorecards right now, and maybe getting even further ahead as he's got McGirt in trouble in the corner, jab, and McGirt wrapping up right now.
Rodriguez smart, keeping his left foot in front of his right so he gets leverage on that right hand, where McGirt is square.
And McGirt just trying to wrap up. You can see Rodriguez getting through the defense of McGirt. Uppercut there, body shot, then uppercut. Working in combination.
And not for nothing, Kurt, but Rodriguez's good work here, all done in a right-handed stance.
McGirt trying to fight back, but he can't get off the ropes. Measured approach by Rodriguez now. You can hear the power of the punches that Rodriguez is throwing. McGirt using that rope as a safety net.
It's target practice, Kurt.
It really is.
McGirt's thrown 2 punches in the last 35 seconds.
And he's taken many, many more and continues right now. Rodriguez won't let McGirt off the ropes. And it's like when Rodriguez decides to throw a punch, he gets to do it. It's just a matter of him taking a break. That's been the only defense that McGirt has had in this round.
Rodriguez kept a nice pace. That was an amateurish left hand there, but he's kept a nice pace this round, and he's carrying his power with him into the later rounds.
And a little tongue poke.
Yeah.
Now making fun of McGirt, and I don't know if he's in position to be doing that right now.
No. That's not a good idea if you are in a position to do it. You see there, McGirt firing away, but very little on those punches. It's the best round of the fight for Rodriguez.
You can just probably cut it.
James, again, son, I'm not gonna sit here and let you take all those shots. You understand me? You understand me? Do you hear me?
Okay.
Okay, but I don't care if you're okay. Okay? I'm not gonna sit there and let you take them shots like that. Okay? You're taking too many unnecessary punches.
Let me do my job. Let me do my
What you
job.
gotta do is when you listen. Okay?
All right, man.
You listen. You can't be taking those shots. The referee will stop the fight. Don't you understand that? Even if you are fine, even if they're not hurting you.
Well, Buddy McGirt said, you got to stop taking shots. We happened to show a replay here where McGirt threw 1 or 2 punches. That was about the total output offensively for him. And Rodriguez did a nice job of mixing his shots and also mixing the power of his shots. Look at that. Left hook to the body, right uppercut. And not worried that much about landing with power every punch, because he basically did punch for a solid 3 minutes that round, Kurt.
It seems as though Rodriguez has done whatever he has wanted to do, with the exception of that 3rd round when McGirt showed a little bit of life. Otherwise, it's been McGirt on defense taking punches. You can hear his father, Buddy McGirt, saying, hey, I'm not going to let you take too many of those. The blood was trickling from his nose there between rounds.
Yeah, it's got to be hard for Buddy, but among other reasons, besides being his father, he was such a great defensive fighter, Buddy McGirt.
Well, that's where the intrigue comes in the corner. You have a father training a son, because it becomes more than just want to protect your father. Obviously, you got paternal instincts there, makes you want to protect him maybe even a little bit more. Right now, he's doing nothing but taking punches from Rodriguez. To the body, then to the head.
Mark Nelson looking very close now, Kurt.
McGirt really just can't defend himself anywhere. He drops his hand down to the body, takes a shot to the head. He protects his head, he takes shots to the body. Right now, this is Rodriguez's fight to finish. He's trying to do just that. Good uppercut. Connects with the left hand.
It's like a switch went off on Rodriguez last round. He's really just fighting a much better offensive fight.
And he stopped that switching back and forth from southpaw to orthodox. Maybe that's the difference. Maybe someone in his corner did say enough of that.
Yeah, and he's found the uppercut, too, a punch he didn't land or fire in the first 5 or 6 rounds.
Good left hand. There's the uppercut from the right side. As soon as we said that he doesn't switch, he switches back to southpaw again.
Well, if McGirt's just going to keep his hands up and back to the ropes, it won't matter if Rodriguez fights righty, lefty, or in between. He's going to dominate.
See the blood beginning to come out of McGirt's nose once again.
Buddy McGirt just shrugged over here. I just wonder how close he might be to rescuing his son at this point.
He has taken a lot of punches in this fight.
And he's doing it gallantly and with courage, but it's not about that. It's about winning.
Or at least fighting back.
Edwin Rodriguez blowing out his nose there. That forms pockets of air under your eyes, and he's got high cheekbones to begin with. That's a habit Peter Manfredo better get him to stop.
Good left hand connection by McGirt, but he takes one in the process. Final seconds. Other than that one punch, another round all Rodriguez.
All right, buddy.
Look at me. You want to stop it. You want to stop it, Jimmy. James, listen to me. You're taking too many shots. You understand me? Look at me. You're taking too many. I understand you're right. Do you have any energy to generate anything? Of course. No, you don't. Look at me.
Oh, don't stop the fight.
Okay, listen. Look at me. I'm going to give you one more round. Look at me.
Don't stop the fight.
Look at me. Look at me.
Pay attention. Pay attention.
I'm going to give you one more round.
How's it going?
There it is.
You're taking some punches, okay?
I'm going to give you one more round. You understand? Look at me. Look at me. I'm going to give you one more round.
Show me something in this round, okay? You understand?
Look at me. One more round I'm going to give you. That's
Show
it.
me something here, guys.
Action from a one-sided round 8. You see McGirt firing away, and by not bringing his gloves back, what does he get? A left hand right in the face. So maybe that's one of the reasons McGirt isn't punching much.
Oh, it was interesting. He wouldn't look Buddy McGirt in the eyes, no matter what he said to him. He tried. So his corner's saying, you've got one more round. You heard the referee, Mark Nelson, saying, I'm going to give you one more round to try. And so we go to this 9th round knowing that McGirt has to show something in order to extend this fight. And Edwin Rodriguez tonight showing why he is one of the top prospects at 168 pounds.
James McGirt's been long before. He's never stopped anybody this late in the fight.
Rodriguez calling McGirt his toughest opponent today. And on my scorecard, he's won it all but one round. And so he looks like he is indeed ready to make that next step.
Rodriguez has to be careful not to get sloppy here when he punches, dropping his hands, stepping straight back. It's about the only thing that could cost him now.
And one thing about Rodriguez is not only he's one of the best prospects, but he takes this sport seriously. And people say, well, he should. He's a professional boxer. But you'd be surprised. A lot of guys, professional athletes, period, just are good at what they do. They don't take it seriously in the gym. They don't work as hard. This kid works extremely hard. Hired a nutritionist, went to Australia to train for this fight. I mean, he is serious about being one of the best in the world.
Yeah, and he's in great shape tonight. He really is, because in the second half of the fight, he escalated his attack big time, and it's paying dividends. He's on his way to a stoppage win here.
Yeah, he's got McGirt in the corner again. And McGirt just wrapping up. There were a couple of punches in the process, but not much on him.
Rodriguez a little sloppy there, letting his hands drop.
And the experienced McGirt watching for that and trying to take advantage whenever he does lower those hands, but the fight is stopped. Mark Nelson steps in and stops the bout.
Well, I'm here to protect you. I'm here to protect you.
Kurt, I have no problem with that at all.
You could say it was an interesting time to do it, but McGirt was not throwing any punches. The only way he was going to win this fight was by knockout, and he hadn't come close to being effective, with the exception of maybe half a round back in round 3.
One thing I learned a long time ago, it's hard to score a knockout if you don't throw punches.
Yeah, absolutely. And McGirt really didn't throw many tonight and absorb a lot.
And if you question that stoppage at all, which I don't and you don't, Buddy McGirt had no problem with it at all.
He was talking about stopping it between rounds. You can see the smile on the face of Edwin Rodriguez as he runs his perfect record all the way to 17-0.
And we take a look at a package of Edwin Rodriguez. This is almost all in the second half of the fight, where McGirt lay against the ropes with his gloves up. But when you don't threaten to punch back, it doesn't matter that your gloves are up. Rodriguez can punch around those gloves, through those gloves, to the body, around the elbows. Just absolute target practice for Rodriguez. And in the second half of that fight, James McGirt made Edwin Rodriguez look like a devastating offensive fighter. The only thing lacking was the knockdown or the knockout.
Let's make it official. Here's Thomas Treiber.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the official time. 1 minute 57 seconds of round number 9. Our referee in charge, Mark Nelson, steps in and calls a halt to the bout. Your winner by way of technical knockout, still undefeated and new WBC USNBC Super Middleweight Champion, Edwin La Bomba Rodriguez.